and welcome to the Emotional Endurance Movement, the place where we talk about all the lemons and how we're coping with them. And I have a really good question for you today. This is one of my favorite questions to ask people, and I've heard so many different answers on this one.
I feel
Don't feel pressure. Maybe feel
okay.
pressure, and then cope with it by telling me, what is your personal go-to coping skill when you're in survival mode, when something kicks you into dysregulation, and it doesn't have to be immediate. We're not asking for
Can I plead the
perfect or
fifth?
judgment. I mean, you can for sure. I'll tell you, okay, sometimes it is not this clean always, okay? But a couple weeks ago, Crimson was actually part of this story. A couple weeks ago, I was on my way to an event driving down the road, and I saw something horrible. Something that makes you question, like, the existential realities of the realm we live in and
It was
all of
not
life's purpose.
that bad.
It, for me, unfortunately, as much as Crimson would like to invalidate my emotional experience, she is incorrect, because I have a special type of OCD where when things like that happen in front of me, I get obsessive. I can't think about
I just
anything
want to
else except
clarify
the
that, like,
image of
it's not
what
like
is happening.
it's not like a human pinned between a car and a tree or anything. Like, I just want to make sure that,
No,
like,
it
there's some.
wasn't that traumatic, but it's interesting you bring that to the table, Crimson, because I was just getting ready to tell the lovely people that I wasn't going to tell them any traumatic
Oh,
details because they didn't need to hear that. And that was me practicing good emotional hygiene. Now, before I got to that point, you
not
got
true
in there and
story.
just shoved some trauma into there, but that is
Not
right. That is
true.
not what happened. That is not what happened. And we can now all practice releasing the image that Crimson gave us and just let it go. We're just letting
Let
it
me
go. It's
go.
just like a cloud floating by. Okay, so I saw something and I became very dysregulated in the car because I knew I started to like obsess and like see the image over and over. When I get on stage, I have to be focused. I have to be grounded. I cannot do the work that I'm doing if I show up emotionally dysregulated. And, oh, this is going to be another YouTube video. I learned this lesson a different way the other day when I did a virtual event and I had an online coughing fit in about front of 700 people. And I just had to recover on my own and keep it together. And both times I used this skill I'm going to tell you about, okay? And it helped both times. And that was bilateral stimulation. When I was in the car driving down the road, I was tapping back and forth. This seems silly. This seems like it wouldn't do anything. You're wrong. This does a lot. This helps your brain to acclimate after you experience something dysregulating. If you think about dysregulation, emotional dysregulation, and emotional regulation, they're basically two tracks in your brain. Okay? At any given time, you can see something or sense something that feels physically, emotionally, morally, spiritually threatening. Okay? In some way, shape, or form. And your body reacts. Oftentimes, we don't pay attention to that reaction. We'll just shift into dysregulation and find ourselves waking up to lashing out or shutting down or projecting or moving into like manipulation, like things like people pleasing. And all this to say that part of conscious coping is recognizing that we have the ability to re-regulate if we get dysregulated. So in both these situations, I was starting to spin out. In both these situations, I had work to do. So what did I do? I started tapping my hands on the steering wheel, or in the case of the virtual webinar, I was tapping my feet on the floor. And to make it extra cute, I told them that I was coping in the middle of doing it, and I would loop back in if they stayed till the end to find out what I was doing. So I think I got some extra engagement points by doing it. It
Good job.
was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. But in both circumstances, I tried not to project. I did name, like for the virtual group, I did name the fact that I was getting anxious because I felt like I had to name that. Like there
Right.
wasn't a way to like not call that out. And
Yeah.
I felt like it would make my audience like feel maybe less anxious for me if I was just like, this is happening. With the story about driving to the event, I felt like the audience didn't need to hear the details of that story
Mm-hmm.
because it would just pass that image onto them and maybe disruptive to them as well. Because I think anybody who has a heart would have felt the way that I felt in that moment. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm on that tangent. But all this to say, just something simple like that can interrupt a spiral of dysregulation. If I had not done those things in that moment, I'm not saying I wouldn't have been able to regulate and get there. It would have taken a lot more time and energy for me to do so. And in both scenarios, I was able to pack back up and go. And now I'm remembering that, because you were at the event, now I'm remembering I also had a coughing fit at the event. Oh my God. I totally forgot about this. Allergies in Cincinnati. Boo!
Oh, it's horrible. We will always sound
that's
congested.
my go-to. Yeah, that's my go-to. That's what I do.
I think that's a great one. I don't think I have any one coping skill. Music is a big part for me. I guess my headphones and music, or just like content books or something, like something that like switches my brain. Music, dancing, getting up and moving, that helps a lot for me. Like sometimes just like releasing energy physically.
Fascinating research that came out within this last year or two that they ranked a whole bunch of interventions for depression specifically, and the best one, even better than therapy, even better than medication, was dance parties.
Oh, I could totally see that. And there's like a whole movement right now of like early dance parties so you can get to bed on time. I'm totally here for it. Like my friend's been doing it and I'm jealous. But they try to end like by 10 o'clock. So that way, let's go to some nightclub. But yeah, dancing, I guess that's always been like in grad school, I would try music and like dance while I was like waiting for a model to run or something. Or I think dancing and music are definitely my first go-to, like when I'm feeling dysregulated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great one. I think you and I have talked about this. I think that's a great coping skill to teach young children as well, is to get involved with moving their body to music that they like as a means to help regulation and soothing. That's a great strategy that I think parents can immediately implement. And if you can get in on the dance party too, you create that moment of connection and belonging, and also like you get the impact of that as well. It's good for your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. So I think that's a great thing to integrate for anybody, but particularly for parents of young children.
And dogs. It's an annoying part of having a dog now is that when that happens, she has to be part of it. But her dancing is like jumping and like basically gut punching you. So it takes away some of the fun, different. But it's pretty cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation today. And whatever your challenging moment is that you're going through right now, just know that one of the most powerful things you can do is just interrupt poor cycles of coping. And you can do that by paying attention to them and trying some new skills. And here at the Emotional Endurance Movement, we think you can have a lot of fun doing it. So make sure to squeeze the day, and we'll see you next time.